The great crystal dome of the Galactic Council chamber sparkled with light from 3 different suns. Inside, representatives from 47 different alien species sat in their special seats. Each seat was made for different body types. Some aliens floated in water tanks. Others needed metal supports for their long necks. A few breathed different gases through special masks. Today was an emergency meeting. The reason was simple but troubling. A young species called humans had started expanding into space that belonged to older, more advanced civilizations. Ambassador Kethvar stood at the center of the chamber. His tall, thin body looked like a gray tree with too many arms. Blue light pulsed through the crystal formations on his head as he spoke. He represented the hegemony, one of the most powerful groups in the galaxy. "Fellow council members," Kethvar said, his voice echoing through translators in dozens of languages. "We face a problem with this new species. The humans have moved into 7 star systems that we claimed long ago. They ignore our warnings. They build colonies on planets we marked as ours. Holographic displays appeared in the air above the center of the chamber. They showed star maps with red dots marking human settlements. The red dots were spreading like a disease across the galaxy. Look at their technology," said Representative Zilhash from the Crystalline Collective. Her body was made of living crystal that changed colors as she spoke. "Their ships are powered by nuclear fusion." "Nuclear fusion! My ancestors used that technology 50,000 years ago. Their weapons fire metal bullets instead of plasma or antimatter. They have no proper energy shields." Laughter rippled through the chamber. It sounded like wind chimes, growling, and electronic beeps all mixed together. "Their largest warship is only 800 meters long," added Commander Thexmal of the Star Dominion. His 4 arms gestured at the display showing human ship designs. "My personal yacht is bigger than that. They have maybe 200 ships total in their entire fleet. We could destroy them all with a single battle group." The hologram changed to show human military records. The aliens had been watching Earth for many years. They saw pictures of human wars, human weapons, and human soldiers. To them it all looked very primitive. "They still fight wars on the surface of their planet," said Kethvar with disgust. "They use kinetic weapons and chemical explosives. Some of their soldiers carry metal knives into battle. Can you imagine? Metal knives in an age of energy weapons." More laughter filled the chamber. The sound was not kind. "Perhaps we should thank them," suggested Lady Velsaria of the Ethereal Courts. Her translucent body glowed softly blue. "They have reminded us how far we have come. It has been so long since we met such a backward species." The display now showed Earth itself. The blue and green planet looked small and unremarkable. City lights dotted the dark side of the world like tiny sparks. 3 billion people on one small world, read Kethvar from his datapad. Most of them live in dirty cities. They pollute their own air and water. They fight each other over resources. They are barely civilized. "What is their government like?" asked someone from the back of the chamber. "They have no single government," replied Kethvar. "Hundreds of small nations that argue and fight with each other. Some are led by elected leaders, others by kings or dictators. They cannot even agree on how to run their own planet. Yet they think they can claim space that belongs to us." The council members made sounds of disbelief. In galactic civilization, species usually united under one government before they reached the stars. The idea of expanding into space while still divided seemed impossible to them. "What do you recommend?" asked Elder Morgeth, the oldest member of the council. His ancient voice came from a life support machine that kept his 1,000-year-old body alive. "A simple correction," answered Kethvar. "We send a small fleet to their newest colony. 12 ships should be more than enough. We demonstrate our superior technology. We explain the rules of galactic civilization. They will surrender immediately." The council members nodded their heads or whatever they used for heads. It seemed like a good plan. "The humans are children playing with toys," said Representative Zilhash. "Once they see real weapons, real shields, real technology, they will understand their place. They will beg to become our servants." "How long do you think it will take?" asked Commander Thexmal. "Days at most," replied Kethvar confidently. "Maybe hours. No primitive species has ever resisted a demonstration of council might. They always surrender when they see how outmatched they are." The vote was unanimous. 12 advanced warships would be sent to human space. The mission was not to destroy the humans, but to educate them. To show them that the galaxy had rules, and those rules were enforced by beings far more powerful than they could imagine. "I volunteer to lead this mission," said Commander Thexmal. It will be good training for my junior officers. A chance to practice fleet maneuvers against targets that cannot fight back. More laughter echoed through the chamber. What if they refuse to surrender? Asked a young representative from the Aquatic Federation. Impossible, said Elder Morgoth firmly. No species is that foolish. Even the most aggressive races in our history submitted once they understood the situation. These humans are not even aggressive. Look at their expansion pattern. Slow, careful, defensive. They are clearly a cautious people. They will see reason. The meeting was ending. Representatives began filing out of the chamber, already thinking about other business. The human problem would be solved quickly and easily. It was not worth worrying about. Kethavar remained behind, studying the holographic display. He looked at human ship designs again. Such primitive technology, such small fleets, such a young civilization. In his long life, he had seen dozens of species make the same mistake. They always learned to respect the council eventually. 12 ships, he murmured to himself. We could do it with 3. But 12 will make sure they truly understand. He turned off the display and walked toward the exit. The crystal dome above dimmed as the 3 suns set on another day in the galactic capital. Tomorrow, the human problem would begin to be solved. It would be over before it really started. The council had no idea that 3 billion years of evolution was about to teach them a lesson they would never forget. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, staring at the tactical display with cold blue eyes. The screen showed 12 alien ships approaching the edge of human space. They moved in perfect formation, like they were part of a parade instead of a military force. Contact from the alien fleet, Captain, reported Lieutenant Park from the communications station. They're broadcasting on multiple frequencies. Put it through, Chen ordered. Her voice was steady, but her hands were clenched into fists behind her back. The main screen flickered and showed the image of an alien creature. It looked like a tall gray tree with too many arms. Blue lights pulsed through crystal formations on its head. When it spoke, the translation software made its voice sound mechanical and cold. I am Commander Thexmal of the Galactic Council Fleet, the alien said. You are occupying space that belongs to civilized species. You will withdraw your colonies from all contested systems within 72 standard hours. This is not a request. This is an order. Captain Chen looked around her bridge. 18 human officers stared back at her. They all had the same expression on their faces. It was not fear. It was something else. Something the aliens did not understand. Response, Captain? Asked Lieutenant Park. Chen was quiet for a moment. She thought about the mining colony on Kepler 442b. 5,000 humans lived there. They had families, children. They had built homes and farms and schools. They had been there for 3 years. Tell them we decline their generous offer, Chen said finally. The alien commander's crystal formations flashed brighter. You decline? You do not understand. We are giving you a chance to leave peacefully. We are being merciful. I understand perfectly, Chen replied. You want us to abandon our homes because you say this space belongs to you. My answer is no. Commander Thexmal made a sound that the translator could not convert. His forearms gestured wildly. You are being irrational. Look at your ships. Look at ours. You have primitive technology. We have weapons that can destroy planets. You cannot win this fight. Maybe not, Chen agreed. But we're not leaving. To prove his point, Commander Thexmal ordered one of his ships to target an unmanned human cargo vessel that was drifting nearby. The alien weapon fired a bright beam of plasma. The human ship's shields lasted for maybe 2 seconds before failing completely. The cargo vessel exploded in a ball of fire and metal. See how easily we destroyed your ship? Thexmal said. Your shields are useless. Your weapons are toys. Surrender now, and we will allow you to live as servants to the Council. Captain Chen watched the burning remains of the cargo ship on her screen. She was quiet for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice was different. Colder. More dangerous. All ships, she said into her headset. This is actual. Weapons free. I repeat, weapons free. Begin hunting pattern Delta. The bridge crew began working with smooth efficiency. No one looked excited or afraid. They looked focused, like predators getting ready to hunt. Captain, Lieutenant Park said quietly, they're jamming our communications with the colony. Expected, Chen replied. They want to make sure no one escapes to tell others what happened here. On the tactical display, the 12 alien ships continued their slow advance toward the human fleet. They moved like they were certain of victory. Their formation was beautiful and precise, designed to show off their superior technology and coordination. The human ships spread out in what looked like a defensive pattern. To the aliens, it probably looked like the humans were getting ready to run away or make a desperate last stand. Commander Thexmal appeared on the screen again. "This is your final warning, humans. Our weapons are charging. You have 60 seconds to surrender." Chen leaned back in her captain's chair. She touched a control on the armrest and her voice was broadcast to every human ship in the fleet. "Attention all vessels," she said calmly. "Remember what we learned in the academy. Remember what happened to every species that thought they were the apex predator. Remember what 3 billion years of evolution created on Earth." She paused, looking at each of her bridge officers in turn. "We are not prey," she continued. "We never were. Today the galaxy learns that the humans have come to hunt." The 60 seconds passed. The alien weapons powered up, glowing with deadly energy. Commander Thexmal raised one of his 4 arms to give the attack order. That was when Captain Chen smiled for the first time since the aliens had arrived. It was not a nice smile. "All ships," she said quietly into her headset. "Show them what happens when they threaten our young." The human fleet suddenly changed formation. What had looked like a defensive spread became something else entirely. The ships moved with perfect coordination, but not like the aliens. The aliens moved like a dance. The humans moved like a pack of wolves that had just caught the scent of wounded prey. "What are they doing?" Commander Thexmal asked his tactical officer. "Unknown, sir," came the reply. "Their formation does not match any known pattern in our databases." "It does not matter," Thexmal said. "All ships open fire. Destroy the human fleet." 12 alien plasma cannons fired at once. Bright beams of energy reached across space toward the human ships. But the humans were no longer where they had been a few seconds before. "Impossible," breathed the alien tactical officer. "How did they move so fast?" Captain Chen's voice came across the open channel, speaking directly to Commander Thexmal. "You made a mistake," she said. "You assumed we would fight like you. You assumed we would stand still and trade shots until the stronger side won." The human ships were moving in patterns that made no sense to the aliens. They used their smaller size and better acceleration to dart between the alien formations. They fired their primitive kinetic weapons in short, precise bursts. "Our shields are holding," reported Thexmal's officer. "Their metal projectiles cannot penetrate our energy barriers." But Chen was not trying to penetrate the shields. Not yet, she was doing something else. "All ships," she commanded. "Target their sensors. Blind them first." The human railguns fired again. This time they aimed for the sensor arrays and communication dishes on the alien ships. Metal slugs, moving at significant fractions of light speed, smashed into delicate equipment. The aliens' perfect formation began to break down as ships lost contact with each other. "They're targeting our sensors," reported the alien tactical officer. "We're losing coordination." Commander Thexmal was beginning to understand that something was wrong. This was not how primitive species were supposed to behave. They were supposed to panic. They were supposed to surrender. They were not supposed to fight back with such calculated precision. "How do they know our ship design so well?" he asked. Captain Chen answered his question over the open channel. "We've been watching you for a long time, Commander. We know exactly where your weapons are. We know where your engines are. We know where your life support systems are located." As if to prove her point, human missiles suddenly appeared on the alien sensors. They had been launched from concealed positions in the asteroid field nearby. The missiles were not aimed at the alien ship's main hulls. They were aimed at specific vulnerable systems. "Incoming missiles," shouted the alien tactical officer. "They're targeting our engine exhausts." That was when Commander Thexmal realized that the humans had been planning this fight for much longer than he had thought. They had not just been expanding randomly into space. They had been studying their potential enemies. They had been preparing for war. The first human missile struck his flagship's port engine. The explosion was small, but it was in exactly the right place to cause maximum damage. The alien ship shuddered and began to list to one side. "How did they know that was a weak point?" Thexmal demanded. Captain Chen's voice came through the static of damaged communications. "Because we're not the primitive species you think we are. We're the species that survived on a planet full of predators by becoming the most dangerous predator of all." The battle was just beginning, but already the aliens were learning that they had made a terrible mistake. They had not encountered a weak young species that would surrender at the first show of force. They had encountered Earth's children, and Earth's children had been born to hunt. The first alien ship to die was the destroyer Crystalline Dawn. It happened exactly 7 minutes and 32 seconds after the shooting started. Commander. Thexmal watched in horror as human missiles punched through his ship's point defense systems. The humans were not using advanced technology. They were using simple physics and ruthless tactics. Sir, the Dawn is reporting multiple hull breaches, his communications officer said. They're losing atmosphere on decks 4 through 7. How? Thexmal demanded. Our shields stopped their first volley completely. They're not trying to break our shields anymore, sir, replied his tactical officer. They're firing at the shield generators themselves. On the main screen, Thexmal could see human ships moving like nothing he had ever seen before. They did not fly in straight lines or elegant formations. They moved like living creatures, dodging and weaving through space with impossible precision. The human ship Defiance suddenly appeared on his starboard side. Captain Chen's vessel had used the debris from destroyed human cargo containers to hide its approach. Now it was close enough that the alien point defense systems could not track it properly. Target that ship, Thexmal ordered. All weapons, maximum power. 4 plasma cannons swiveled toward the Defiance. But before they could fire, the human ship did something that no civilized species would ever do. It rammed the alien destroyer Crystalline Dawn. The impact happened at incredible speed. The Defiance's reinforced bow section punched through the Dawn's weakened shields and buried itself in the alien ship's hull. Both ships shuddered from the collision, but only one of them had been designed for it. Impossible, breathed Thexmal. They sacrificed their own ship. But the Defiance was not destroyed. Its bow was crushed and it was leaking atmosphere, but it was still fighting. As the two ships spun together through space, the human vessel fired its railguns at point-blank range directly into the alien ship's reactor compartment. The Crystalline Dawn exploded like a small star. Captain Chen, Thexmal said over the open channel, you just killed your own crew members along with mine. That was murder. Chen's voice came back steady and cold. That was war. And in war, sometimes good people die so that evil people can't hurt anyone else. The alien commander felt something he had not experienced in many years. Fear. Not just fear of dying, but fear of something much worse. He was beginning to understand that humans did not think like other species. Sir, his tactical officer reported, the humans are using debris from the destroyed ships as cover. They're firing missiles from inside the wreckage. Thexmal looked at his tactical display. The battle space was now filled with floating metal, plasma clouds, and the shattered remains of 2 starships. To his sensors, it looked like chaos, but the humans were moving through it like they belonged there. Another human ship, the destroyer Jakarta, suddenly emerged from behind a large piece of debris. It fired a spread of kinetic torpedoes at the alien cruiser's Star of Might. The torpedoes were not aimed at the cruiser's main hull. They were aimed at the ship's weapon mounts. They're disabling our guns, reported the weapons officer from the Star of Might. We can't target them properly. Then target them improperly, Thexmal snapped. Fire everything at their general location. The alien ships began firing wildly into the debris field. Plasma beams lit up space like a deadly light show. They hit pieces of metal, clouds of gas, and empty space. They did not hit any human ships. Where are they? Demanded Thexmal. Unknown, sir, came the reply. They're using the debris to mask their heat signatures. Our sensors can't lock onto them. That was when the humans struck again, but this time they came from below. 3 human ships rose up from the shadow of a nearby asteroid. They had been hiding there since before the battle started, waiting for the perfect moment to attack. Their railguns fired in perfect coordination, sending dozens of kinetic rounds toward the alien formation. The projectiles were not aimed at the alien ships themselves. They were aimed at the space between the ships, where they exploded into clouds of metal fragments traveling at enormous speed. Flak, said Chen's voice over the communication channel. We learned this trick fighting each other. It works just as well against aliens. The metal fragments peppered the alien ships like deadly rain. They were too small for the point defense systems to target, but moving too fast for the shields to stop completely. Warning lights began flashing on alien control panels as sensors. Communication arrays and weapon systems took damage. Sir, we're losing systems across the fleet, reported Thexmal's communications officer. The humans are targeting our infrastructure. Thexamol was beginning to realize that this was not a normal space battle. Normal space battles were fought between ships that respected certain rules. They used energy weapons at long range. They relied on shields and armor to protect themselves. They fought with honor and followed established tactics. The humans were not following any rules. All ships withdraw to long range, Thexamol ordered. We'll use our superior firepower to destroy them from a distance. But as the alien ships began to retreat, they discovered that the humans had anticipated this as well. Human ships appeared behind them, cutting off their escape route. These ships had been hiding in the asteroid field for hours, maybe days, waiting for this exact moment. "We're surrounded," reported his tactical officer. "By primitives with metal weapons," Thexamol said angrily. "Our shields can stop their projectiles. Our weapons are more powerful than theirs. We should be winning this battle." "Sir," said his science officer quietly, "I think we misunderstood something about human technology." "What do you mean?" "Their weapons are not primitive, sir. They're specialized. Look at their projectile design. The metal slugs are made from dense materials and shaped for maximum penetration. They're fired at velocities that approach light speed. When they hit our shields, they transfer enormous amounts of kinetic energy." Thexamol looked at his display again. The human weapons were simple, but they were not crude. Every shot was precisely aimed. Every tactic was carefully planned. These were not the weapons of a primitive species. They were the weapons of a species that had perfected the art of killing. "And, sir," the science officer continued, "their ship designs are not defensive. They're optimized for aggression. Look at the reinforced bow sections, the redundant life support systems, the modular weapon mounts. These ships were built for ramming attacks and close-range combat." The truth was becoming clear. Humans had not developed these ships for exploration or defense. They had developed them for war. They had been planning for this kind of fight long before they ever met another species. "All ships," came Captain Chen's voice over the general frequency. "Execute hunting pattern Gamma. Remember, wounded prey run slower." The human ships suddenly changed tactics again. Instead of attacking all the alien vessels at once, they focused on the ones that were already damaged. They moved like a pack of predators separating the weak from the strong. The alien cruiser Star of Might, already crippled by the earlier torpedo attack, found itself surrounded by 4 human destroyers. They did not try to destroy it quickly. Instead, they systematically stripped away its defenses, one system at a time. "They're torturing the Star of Might," reported Thexamol's tactical officer. "They could finish it easily, but they're keeping it alive." "Why?" "Unknown, sir. It serves no tactical purpose," but Chen's voice provided the answer. "Because the rest of your fleet will try to rescue them," she said. "And when you do, you'll be exactly where we want you." Thexamol felt his blood turn cold. The humans were not just winning the battle. They were controlling it. Every move his fleet made was exactly what the humans expected. They were being herded like prey animals. "Sir," his communications officer said urgently, "I'm receiving a transmission from the Council. They want to know why we haven't reported victory yet." Thexamol looked around his damaged bridge. Half his systems were offline. 3 of his 12 ships were destroyed or disabled. The remaining vessels were trapped in a sphere of human warships that attacked like a pack of hungry wolves. "Tell the Council," he said slowly, "that we have encountered a problem." Captain Sarah Chen stood in the wreckage of what had once been the bridge of the alien cruiser Star of Might. Her boarding team had taken the ship 15 minutes ago. Now she was studying the alien technology with cold, calculating eyes. "Interesting," she murmured, running her fingers along a control panel that pulsed with soft blue light. "Lieutenant Martinez, are you getting this?" "Recording everything, Captain," replied her technical officer. He was using a small scanner to analyze the alien computer systems. "This plasma cannon design is exactly what our intelligence reports predicted. The energy-focusing arrays are vulnerable to electromagnetic pulse." Chen nodded. Humans had been preparing for this day for decades. Ever since they first detected alien signals from deep space, they had been studying every transmission, every piece of data they could intercept. While the aliens thought humans were a primitive species stumbling blindly into the galaxy, human scientists had been learning. "Captain," came a voice through her headset. "This is Commander Park on the Defiance. The alien fleet is trying to retreat." Chen looked out through the Star of Might's shattered viewports. In the distance, she could see the remaining 9 alien ships attempting to form up for a withdrawal. They were moving slowly like wounded animals trying to escape a pack of predators. "Let them try," Chen said calmly. "Execute Phase 2. What Commander Thexmol did not know was that the human fleet he had been fighting was not the only human presence in the system. While his attention was focused on the battle, other human ships had been moving into position around the entire star system. They had been waiting there for weeks. "Sir," reported Thexmol's tactical officer, "I'm detecting new contacts. Multiple ships emerging from the asteroid belt." "How many?" Thexmol asked, though he was afraid to hear the answer. 12. No, 18. Sir, I count at least 30 human vessels. They were hiding in the asteroids. Thexmol felt his heart sink. The humans had not just been defending their colony. They had been planning an ambush. For who knew how long, they had been positioning ships throughout the system, waiting for the Council fleet to arrive. "This is impossible," he said. "Our intelligence report said they only had 200 ships in their entire fleet." "Maybe their intelligence was wrong," suggested his science officer. "Or maybe," came Captain So, Chen's voice over the communication channel, "your intelligence was exactly what we wanted you to believe." The truth was becoming clear. Everything the aliens thought they knew about humanity was based on information that humans had deliberately leaked to them. The real size of the human fleet, the real capabilities of human technology, the real nature of human tactics, all of it had been carefully hidden. "You've been studying us," Thexmol said. "For 47 years, Chen confirmed. "Ever since we detected your first deep space probe. We've been listening to your communications, analyzing your technology and learning how you think. We know your ship designs better than you do." To prove her point, human missiles suddenly appeared on the alien sensors, but these were not the same missiles that had been used in the first part of the battle. These were different, bigger, more sophisticated. "Incoming projectiles," reported the alien tactical officer. "Wait. These missiles are using our own guidance systems." The missiles struck the alien ships with perfect precision. They did not try to overwhelm the shields with brute force. Instead, they used specific frequencies and targeting patterns that caused the alien energy barriers to fail catastrophically. "How do they know our shield harmonics?" demanded Thexmol. "Because we've been testing them," Chen replied. "Every probe you sent into our space, every long-range scan you made of our colonies, we were learning from it. We captured 3 of your scout ships over the past decade. We studied them. We learned." The alien fleet was now completely surrounded. Human ships emerged from behind asteroids, from the shadows of moons, from clouds of space dust where they had been hiding for days or weeks. The ambush was perfect and complete, but the humans did not attack immediately. Instead, they began broadcasting something that chilled Thexmol to his core. "This is Admiral Harrison of the Human Colonial Fleet," came a new voice. "We want to make something clear to any Council forces listening to this transmission. You came here to demonstrate your superiority, to teach us our place in the galaxy. Instead, you have given us the perfect opportunity to demonstrate something to you." The human ships began moving in coordination, not like the elegant formations that Council species preferred, but like a hunting pack that had cornered its prey. "We are not the weak, primitive species you believed us to be," Admiral Harrison continued. "We are the descendants of apex predators. Our ancestors survived ice ages, plagues, and wars that would have destroyed most civilizations. We learned to hunt in packs, to use tools, to plan for the future." As if to demonstrate his point, the human ships began systematically disabling the alien vessels. They did not try to destroy them quickly. Instead, they targeted specific systems in a carefully planned sequence. First, the engines. Precise railgun shots disabled the alien propulsion systems, leaving the ship stranded. Second, the weapons. Human boarding parties teleported onto the alien vessels using technology that the Council did not know humans possessed. They sabotaged the alien weapons from the inside. Third, the communications. The aliens found themselves cut off from each other and from their home base. "You see," Admiral Harrison explained, "you made the mistake of thinking that technology equals superiority. You have better shields, better weapons, better power sources. But you forgot something important. You forgot that the most dangerous predator is not the one with the sharpest claws. It's the one that thinks 3 steps ahead." Commander Thexmol watched helplessly as his fleet was systematically dismantled. The humans were not just defeating them. They were studying them, learning from them, taking apart their ships piece by piece to understand how everything worked. What do you want? He asked finally. Information, Chen replied. We want to know everything about the Council. Ship movements, fleet compositions, planetary defenses, technology specifications, everything. I will never betray the Council, Thexmol said firmly. We don't need you to betray anyone, Chen said. We're taking the information whether you cooperate or not. Your ship's computers are being downloaded as we speak. Your crew members are being questioned individually. By the time we're finished, we'll know more about Council military capabilities than most Council admirals. The methodical destruction continued. Human teams moved through the alien ships like surgeons, carefully removing components and devices. They took star charts, weapon designs, shield generators, communication equipment, and computer cores. Why are you doing this? Thexmol asked. Because you made a mistake, Admiral Harrison replied. You assumed that a young species would be weak. You assumed that primitive technology meant primitive thinking. You assumed that because we haven't been in space for very long, we don't understand how the galaxy works. The human ships began to withdraw, leaving the alien vessels drifting powerless in space. They had taken everything of value and left just enough life support for the alien crews to survive. Here's what's going to happen, Admiral Harrison said. We're going to let one of your ships go. You're going to return to the Council and deliver a message for us. What message? That humanity is not interested in becoming servants or subjects of the Galactic Council. We're not interested in following your rules or respecting your territorial claims. We're expanding into the galaxy, and we're going to keep expanding. The human fleet began to disperse, melting back into the asteroid fields and nebulae where they had been hiding. Within minutes they were gone, leaving no trace except for the disabled Council ships. And if the Council wants to stop us, came Captain Chen's final transmission. They're welcome to try, but they should remember what happened here today. They should remember that humans don't fight like civilized species. We fight like the predators we were born to be. Commander Thexmol was left alone with his thoughts and his crippled fleet. The humans had not just defeated them. They had humiliated them. They had demonstrated that everything the Council believed about warfare, about technology, about civilization itself, might be wrong. Somewhere in the distance, human colonies continued to expand into space that the Council claimed as their own, and now the Council knew that stopping them would be much more difficult than anyone had imagined. The great crystal dome of the Galactic Council chamber was silent. For the first time in 3,000 years, not a single representative spoke. They all stared at the holographic display floating. Above the center of the room, the display showed the wreckage of 12 Council warships drifting in space around the human colony of Kepler 442. What had been the most advanced fleet in the galaxy was now nothing but scrap metal and debris. Ambassador. Kethvar stood at his speaking position, but his usual confidence was gone. The blue lights in his crystal formations flickered weakly as he read the report that Commander Thexmol had transmitted before his rescue. 12 ships, he said quietly. The most advanced vessels in our fleet, destroyed or disabled by a species we thought was primitive. The silence stretched on. Representatives who had laughed at human technology just days before now looked at their datapads with growing fear. How? Asked Representative Zilhash from the Crystalline Collective. Her crystal body was dim, showing her distress. How did they know our ship design so well? How did they know exactly where to target our shields? Elder Morgeth's ancient voice came from his life support machine. Because they have been watching us far longer than we have been watching them. While we thought we were observing a primitive species, they were studying us like laboratory specimens. The display changed to show intelligence reports that had been gathered over the past 48 hours. Human fleets were moving throughout the galaxy. Not the small defensive forces that the Council had expected, but massive armadas that had been hidden in deep space for years. According to our scouts, Kethvar continued, there are at least 2,000 human warships spread across 17 star systems. This is 10 times larger than our estimates. 2,000, whispered Commander Volteth of the military. Cast, we have 800 ships total across all member species. The implications were terrifying. Humans had not just matched Council technology. They had been building a fleet in secret that outnumbered anything the Council could assemble. Look at this, said Lady Velsaria, pointing to another section of the display. Human settlements in the outer rim. The contested zone, the dark sector. They're everywhere. The star map showed red dots representing human colonies scattered across the galaxy. But these were not random settlements. They formed a pattern that revealed careful planning and strategic thinking. They're not expanding randomly, observed Elder Morgoth. They're claiming strategic positions, fuel stops, trading routes, defensive positions. This is not the work of a species that stumbled into space travel. This is the work of a species that has been planning galactic conquest for decades. A new hologram appeared, showing intercepted human communications. The translation was rough, but the meaning was clear enough. Priority message to all colonial defense forces, the recording said. Council enforcement action has been neutralized. Proceed to Phase 2 territorial expansion. Secure the following systems before Council reinforcements arrive. The list that followed contained the names of 50 star systems. All of them were currently claimed by Council member species. They're not just defending their existing colonies, Kethvar said with growing horror. They're expanding their territory while we're still trying to understand what happened at Kepler 442. Representative Kalmesh of the Science Directorate stood up slowly. His tentacled form was trembling with either fear or excitement. I have completed my analysis of the human weapons recovered from the battle site, he announced. What did you find? Asked Elder Morgoth. Their technology is not primitive, Kalmesh replied. It is specialized. Every weapon, every ship system, every tactical choice has been designed specifically to counter our technology. They have been studying us for so long that they know our capabilities better than we do. He activated a detailed hologram showing human railgun projectiles. Look at these kinetic rounds. The metal composition is specifically chosen to disrupt our shield harmonics. The shape is designed for maximum penetration of our hull materials. The velocity is calculated to overwhelm our point defense systems. Another hologram showed human ship designs. Their vessels are not built for exploration or peaceful contact. They are warships designed for aggression and close-range combat. The humans have been preparing for war since before they ever made contact with us. The chamber filled with uneasy murmurs. Council species had always prided themselves on being peaceful and civilized. The idea that another species might have been planning to attack them was almost unthinkable. There's more, Kalmesh continued. I analyzed the human boarding techniques used during the battle. They have technology that we did not know existed. Personal teleportation devices, energy weapons that can cut through our hull materials, armor that protects against our plasma weapons. How is that possible? Demanded Commander Volteth. We've been monitoring their technology for years. We never saw any of this. Because they only showed us what they wanted us to see, Elder Morgoth said grimly. While we thought we were gathering intelligence on them, they were feeding us false information. Everything we believed about human capabilities was carefully crafted deception. The display changed again, showing a recording from the battle. It was Commander Thexmal's final transmission before his ship was disabled. They knew everything, his voice said through the static. They knew our ship layouts, our weapons, our tactics. They had been planning this ambush for months, maybe years. This was not a defensive action. This was a trap. Ambassador Kethvar felt something he had never experienced before in his long life. True fear. Not fear of death, but fear of the unknown. Fear of a species that thought in ways the Council could not understand. What are they? He asked quietly. The answer came from an unexpected source. A young representative from the Aquatic Federation stood up. She had been silent during most Council sessions, but now she spoke with certainty. I have been studying Earth's history, she said. Their planet is unlike any world we have encountered. It is not a peaceful place where life evolved in harmony. It is a battlefield where only the strongest species survived. She activated a hologram showing Earth's evolutionary history. For billions of years, life on Earth has been shaped by competition, predation, and extinction events. The species that survived were not the most intelligent or the most peaceful. They were the most adaptable and the most ruthless. The images showed the history of life on Earth. Mass extinctions, ice ages, volcanic eruptions, species hunting other species to extinction. It was a violent, chaotic history unlike anything in Council databases. Humans are the final product of this evolutionary process, the young representative continued. They are not just intelligent. They are apex predators that learned to use tools to plan ahead, to work together in groups. They survived by becoming the most dangerous species on their planet. And now they're in space, whispered Representative Zilhash. Yes, the young representative confirmed. Now they're in space, and they see the galaxy the same way they saw Earth, as territory to be claimed, as resources to be taken, as competition to be eliminated. Elder Morgoth's voice cut through the murmurs that filled the chamber. We must make an immediate decision. Do we fight them or do we try to negotiate? Fight them with what? Asked Commander Volteth bitterly. They outnumber us. They have been studying our weaknesses for decades. They fight with tactics that no civilized species would use. How do we defeat an enemy that thinks like a predator? Maybe we don't fight them, suggested Lady Velsaria quietly. Maybe we try to coexist. Based on what? Kethavar demanded. They have shown no interest in negotiation. They destroyed our fleet without even trying to talk. They're expanding into our territory and ignoring our warnings. What makes you think they want coexistence? The chamber fell silent again as the representatives considered their options. For the first time in galactic history, the Council faced an enemy they did not understand and could not easily defeat. There is one more thing, Kalmesh said reluctantly. Our deep space monitors have detected something else. Human ships in sectors we thought were empty. Areas where no Council species has ever traveled. The display showed the very edge of known space. Distant stars where no civilization had ever sent exploration missions. They're out there too, Kalmesh continued. The humans are not just expanding into our territory. They're expanding everywhere, into regions of space we haven't even discovered yet. The implications were clear and terrifying. Humans were not just a local threat to Council territory. They were spreading throughout the galaxy like a plague, claiming worlds and systems faster than anyone could track them. How long? Asked Elder Morgoth quietly. Unknown, Kalmesh replied. But based on their current expansion rate, they will have significant presence in most inhabited systems within 10 standard years. 10 years, Kethavar repeated. 10 years until they control the galaxy. The great crystal dome dimmed as the three suns set on another day in the galactic capital. But for the first time in 3,000 years, the representatives of the Galactic Council were not confident about tomorrow. Somewhere out in the darkness between the stars, human fleets were moving toward their next targets. The hunters had arrived in the galaxy, and they were already everywhere.